Mr. Chris Griffin, thank you for joining me, man.
Appreciate you inviting me on the show, man.
Of course. I've spent the whole day on your Instagram.
Just listening to my voice.
Listening to your voice. Spent the whole 3 days listening to your voice. But I scrolled down right to the end and God, you've been on a journey, man.
Big one.
I'm just a kid who took a punt on himself. I accepted failure and kept getting back up when I got slammed in the face time and time again. There is nothing stopping you from doing the same. What's holding you back?
Yeah. You see, the thing about that is I'm just a normal guy. And everyone is in that position in their life and everyone can make any change that they want. There's just so many things in the way of them making those first steps. Because it's all it is. A lot of the time you'll see these people that feel really lost. It's not that they're halfway through the journey. They haven't started. And what you find is when you start and you get over those first few little steps, the rest start to kind of flow. And I was that guy that was just wanting more and I just gave it a crack. And I still am giving it a crack. I still am trying. And I think ultimately if you can just start and then keep playing the game even when it gets hard and you can do it at a high standard, like you're going to succeed, time's just catching up. And yeah, it's really cool to reflect on the journey, man. It's been crazy.
Do you remember what the starting point was for you?
It was being exposed to my best friend, Sam, to be honest, I would say. But the thing is you look back and there's all these little things in your life that kind of one thing lead to another. But the real catalyst was when I was kind of lost in school. And then I got exposed to Sam, my best friend, who basically was telling me the stuff he was doing. He was a straight A student, dropped out of school, and I was just so intrigued. And so I believe for most people, the reason that sparks interest and curiosity to start is they get exposed to a life that they want, that they didn't believe was possible before. And then they have this level of belief in themselves that they can go out and achieve that too. So then they start and they're kind of like peripherals get opened up to what's possible. And, you know, a lot of people don't have that experience. And so when they find that, they're like, wow, I've never seen anything before like this. I've never been as drawn to something like I am to this. I want to do it. And that was when I just changed everything. I just went from being this cool kid to going all in business. And yeah, that led to one thing and led to another thing and highs and lows. And here we are.
Sounded like you were a bit of an outcast from what I've learned, or not learned, but listened to from other conversations.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, like, everyone can be. And ultimately, in order to, again, achieve anything that you kind of want in your life, you need to do something that is different to what's normal. And that would define you as an outcast, I guess. But I wasn't. I wasn't. It's not like you're born an outcast.
Did you feel alone in those times?
Yeah. I felt alone in many times. I think you go through little levels in life and you hit a new level of loneliness. But loneliness is only the absence of connection. And so I've been talking about this thing or thinking about this concept a lot recently. As you increasingly start to make decisions for you, not anyone else, you become more unique. And so when you become more unique, you struggle to relate to people as much. And when you struggle to relate to people as much, you lack connection, which ultimately results in you being more lonely. And so in any pursuit of letting your soul-led version of you drive the way, you're going to become more lonely and you're going to lack connection.
What you just said there reminded me of something that you said. I think it was something you wrote at the start of this year, and it was about the new year, same me. Do you remember writing that? Because I'm happy with how last year went. Let me tell you now, it was not easy. It was a hard year. Happy to read out the whole thing. But that's what made me grow. I'm so happy with the progress that I made that I still feel the need to change it. I still don't feel the need to change anything. I still have the same goals and dreams and I'm still giving every day my absolute best so that I can get closer to them. But if there are a couple of things that I want to make sure I'm doing this year, the first one would be to smell the roses from time to time. Appreciate what I have as opposed to being so hungry for more. I should spend more time on those that matter, those who push me and those that make me the best version of me. and everyone else, they're going to go back to the back burner this year. I need to put me first and everyone else second, because regardless of what goes on in my head, when my head hits the pillow every night, I will always have myself on my side. And that's why I'm the priority in my life.
Yeah. That was good. January 1st is no different to December 31st. People just seem to make up this thing in their head that like once the new year happens, all those things that I'm not liking about myself, I can now change. But the thing is you had that thought in July. Why are you waiting till January to start doing all of the things, to start realizing that your life is not actually the life that you want to live? But you're going to wait till next year because then you can actually have this clean slate because it's January 1st. And for me, the New Year, same me, is I'm on this journey and I'm proud of what I'm doing. I'm inspired by what I'm doing. Yes, it's not easy. And yes, I struggle to be proud of where I am at times. I struggle to, smell the roses and enjoy the little things. And I always want more, and I can constantly be impatient, or I can constantly not be happy or content. But I'm still overall quite proud of where I'm going, and I'm really inspired by the life that I'm striving towards. Why change it? If it's not broken, don't fix it. I've spent all this time working on me to level up me, and I'm leveling up. And I look back, and 12 months ago, I'm nowhere near who I am today. So why would I change what I'm doing? If I got 12 months down the line and I looked at my life and I thought, fuck, I'm in the exact same place, which by the way is probably one of the biggest fears, then I might go, okay, new year, different me. Because the last 12 months, I did not move the needle, and I'm not proud of that person I was. But if everything's going good, there's no need to reinvent the wheel. Let's just keep going. Layers of paint build a mountain. Let's just keep stacking these little wins that I've been doing because it seems to be working. And yeah, the last part of that was just reminding myself that I'm the priority. When I am thriving in my life and I feel full within myself, everyone else enjoys my company more. It's just like I can't pour from an empty cup. Let's fill my cup up, and then I can give as much as I possibly can. And yeah, it's a cool little reflection. I've not read back that in a very long time. Thanks for bringing it up.
Of course, man. You talked about looking back. Alfie Robertson, who you spoke to on episode 1, said his main fear was getting to the end of it all and saying, or thinking about the person that I could have been. Is that a thought process that ever enters your head?
I probably don't think about that thought, to be honest. It's a legitimate thing, but I never ever let it get to that. Like I never ever let it get. For me, it's a lot smaller. It's like I said I was going to go in the ice bath this morning and I didn't do it. I can't let that happen because that's going to eat up at me. I'm not looking too far ahead because I honestly think my discipline's quite strong to the point where I'm not actually scared of looking back at my life and not, because I'm living everything that I truly want to do. So I'm not actually looking at, it's not a fear of mine. A fear of mine is like on an average Tuesday, I said I wanted to do all of these things and I didn't do them. And then my head hits the pillow. I'm alone. I feel like shit. And I go, fuck, am I actually who I say I am? Like that's something for me. It's a lot smaller. I think because I've been slammed on my face so many times and I've got back up when no one was watching, I kind of just have this thing that happens in my mind where I just feel like it's actually just a me versus me game. I'm far beyond worrying about what people think about me. So let's just try and get these small wins and stack those up.
You talked about alone time being beneficial nonetheless. Is that something you still believe is the case? You said before, hitting your head on an average Tuesday and still being alone. Do you think times alone allowed you to sort of reflect on where you were going and who you are?
Yeah, well, one must know themselves before trying to understand everything else. I think it's a constant battle of trying to understand who you truly are. It's just a matter of sharpening the sword. I think you ultimately, you're constantly trying to figure it out. You know, who I think I am changes as I develop and grow. But I do think it's our ultimate responsibility to make that the priority. And solitude is what unlocks that. I think the more solitude you have and the more time you just spend alone, the more you understand about the outside world too. Because your world is only how you view it. We need to understand that everyone's reality is their reality. So their thoughts and the way they view the world is their reality. And so if you want to change your reality, you need to change your thoughts. And so ultimately, if we're not happy with where we are, we need to actually look within. And I think that's a constant thing for me is self-reflection and being able to be hyper aware of my thoughts, where I'm going, what I'm doing is probably the biggest responsibility that I would hold on myself. How can I review the things that I'm doing in my life in order to improve?
The most growth I've had is when I look within, even when it's not my fault, because that's the way you get answers. Heroes and villains both come from the same backstory.
Pain.
Yeah, so I should have said that.
The hero says, the world hurt me, I'm not going to let it hurt anyone else. And the villain says, the world hurt me, I'm going to hurt everyone else. And I think ultimately you can choose how you want to deal with anything. Anything. And everything is relative to what you've experienced in the past. So you just get to choose. Are you a hero or a villain? I got asked this on a podcast. It's like, do you, is trauma a progressor or a regressor? And it's just like, well, that's up to you. Like, you can go through so much shit and it's probably worse than a lot of other people. The shit you're going through is probably worse than a lot of other people. But I guarantee you that there's people that are going through worse than what you're going through. So choose how you want to deal with it. Like people have still achieved things that you want to achieve that have gone through worse than you have gone through. So your problems do not mean shit. Do you want to focus on all of the bad things that are happening in your life, or do you want to hone in on the things that are actually going good? Because I guarantee you there's still some. The best part is you get to choose. And yeah, what's the point of dreading on things that you can't control? Like, honestly, like get real with yourself. Like you're going to regret that. I guarantee you that you're going to regret that. So like just choose the things that are actually going to move the needle, the things that you truly want to do, and just take ownership on everything that's happened, good or bad, and you'll be able to start looking within and growing for sure.
What is it you went through, do you think, that allowed you to have that thought process?
It's just small failures. And they just stack up. It's like when the wins stack up, you gain confidence. But when the failures stack up, you gain even more confidence because you've overcome something and you're proud that you've overcame that. You've gone from A to B, and on the other side of that is pride. And I think you gain more confidence from the failures than you gain from the victories because you've got confidence that you've overcome the failures. And, again, everything is relative to what you've experienced in the past. So if you go through more shit, the shit becomes easier to deal with. And so then things aren't phasing you as much. Like ultimately, if you want to have a positive mindset, you need to go through more shit. That's all.
What do you see as your biggest failure?
Well, again, like, I could look at so many things that have happened in my life and go, that is such a massive failure. I am a failure. But if you develop a mindset where you are proud of the stuff, or you've come at ease and you've been comfortable in that lull or in that low, you don't dread on it very long. I can't even name them. I can start talking things like my ex broke up with me. That's a failure, massive one. I couldn't keep a relationship. It's not on her, it's on me. That's a failure. However, that was the very thing that changed my whole life because then I looked within and took the lessons and grew. So I've made a micro failure, but in the process, I've catapulted my life. So overall, I would class myself as a success, at least getting there, right? So, I mean, like there's so many failures that I've had that are like little comparatively to how big the win is off the back of it. And I think that's because I've chose to look within in those lows and make the most of the lessons from those lows.
You don't have a fear of failure. You have a fear of what other people think of you if you fail.
Yeah.
You said that. in a conversation. I'm not sure. I forget who it's from.
Honestly, I've said that a bunch of times, and that's because like I do a poll on my Instagram story, and I say, what are people's biggest fears? And they say failure. So many of them, they say failure. And I'm like, it's not. It's really not. Like, if you woke up one morning and everyone else on the planet was dead, just you, do you think you'd take a risk?
Of course.
Of course you would. Of course you would. If you were guaranteed that if you failed, everyone would cheer for you and give you a present, would you take a risk? Of course you would. You don't have a fear of failure. You have a fear of what other people are going to think of you. If you eliminate the fear of what other people think of you, you're more willing to take risks, and then you're more willing to fail, because ultimately if you are taking a risk, there is a chance that you can fail, hence why it's called a risk. And so if you take more risks, you fail more. And the greatest part about that is the more times you fail, looping it back into what we've said in this convo, the more times you fail, the easier failing becomes, because you got over the failure and you're like, oh, I overcame that. That's okay. So you're more willing to go again and go again. It just compounds over time.
Where does your mind go when it wanders? I've heard you talk about how like sort of self-reflective you are, and I'm in a similar position at the moment in regard to like I'm just constantly thinking. I'm sure I'm not sure if I'm putting words into your mouth, but are you the same? Are you just like when you get a thought process, you think about something, you just sort of focus on it, and you want to find an answer, and you're just super curious on what the answer is and how you can get to it?
Yeah, mine wanders all the time. Just so many things going on, so many ambitions, so many goals, so many things maybe like that you don't want to be doing, but you're doing anyway. Or maybe there's like things in your life where you feel like you could be doing something in a quicker way, or you're comparing to what you used to be doing, or, you know, what you could be doing. And if you're not truly aligned with where you're going, then you'll compare yourself to others as well. And then your mind can wander there. And yeah, ultimately, the mind only wanders when I lack clarity in my life. So when I'm really certain on where I'm going and who I am, it doesn't wander as much, or I don't get held up on the thoughts for very long. I can snap myself out of it pretty easily. But I mean, it's just all the normal thoughts. I'm no special person, I'm just a human being. We all have these thoughts. We all go through shit. Typically, you know, when you are on this path of taking risks and trying to achieve something great, there can be a lot more challenge on that journey. So you kind of can go through more stress. You're probably onboarding more stress, and stress is just a labeled term, but like that can encompass so many different things. But like you can just feel a level of anxiety and stress and pressure from that. But honestly, like if my health's good, I'm training hard, I'm confident with how I look and feel, you know, I'm getting progress, like all of these things, my mind's pretty strong and pretty good. But it's more so just when things start to like slack, you need to kind of realign them and get back on that train.
What's your advice to someone who's looking to realign?
Don't think about the things that are going to be good in your life. Get rid of the things that are bad in your life, because you need space to free up inside of you to let in the good. So if you're searching for all of this good, there's no room for it because you've got so much shit in your life. So think about all the things that are holding you back and get rid of those before trying to invite new stuff in. You've got no space for new stuff. So that would be my advice for people.
If you had one day to live, would you tell anyone?
Yeah, I would. I'd probably tell my best friend, Sam, and I'd just be like, mate, I got one day to live. Let's just hang out. Let's go to a waterfall and just chill there. And let's just one more time just reflect on all the shit we've been through together, because it's pretty special. And, you know, it gets emotional thinking about the journey because of how much shit we've been through together. And so it'd be just go hang out with him. Some of the best memories that I have are literally just with him, and we just are in the trenches and we're like fucked. Do not know how the fuck we're getting out of this. And we're like, fuck, like, come on, we're just trying to have a crack, hey? And we're just sitting in like a waterfall in Currumbin, and we just say like, just trying to have a crack, hey? And just start laughing. We can be in the lowest of lows together and we can still find a laugh. And so, yeah, that would probably be the person I would tell.
What would a fly on the wall scene in your mold infested apartment when you were living there together? Was it mold infested?
The bed,
bed was.
yeah, we had a dehumidifier.
Fill up with water.
And it would just fill up with water every day. And we'd have to empty this thing. But yeah, the bed we had to throw out. So the mattress was on the floor. And every time you'd put your head on the pillow, it would be like damp. The pillow would be like damp. It was feral. But yeah, we did that for 3 months straight in lockdown. So we couldn't leave at all. But what they would have seen is just we actually thought in those moments we should set up a camera in the corner and just film us, because it's just chaos. You've got a bed in the corner. You've got a couch that folds out into like another bed, but it was so uncomfortable that we just ended up sharing the double mattress on the floor. It folded out, and then we had this little desk smaller than this thing. It was like tiny that we could work on. And then there was a kitchen and a little bathroom. And then all the walls were just filled with whiteboards. And we'd just write all these business ideas and all this stuff. And we were just giving it a crack. And yeah, look, like I would hate to go back to those moments, those times. We reflect on them a lot. It's great in hindsight. But it was just chaos. It was so hectic. Yeah. So, I mean, those times were crazy.
I heard someone describe a challenge that they went through as the best and the worst thing that ever happened to them. Would that be something you could relate to in looking back on those times?
Well, look at all of the bad times in your life. Like if you've actually chosen to grow from them, they are the best and the worst thing. Like, as I said before, me and my girlfriend, she broke up with me and I thought she was perfect. Like I thought she was fucking amazing. And don't get me wrong, she's still an amazing girl. I hold her to very high regard. She's most definitely not perfect. She's definitely not like the dream mother to my children anymore. But in the moment, that was horrible. But I think I used that as fuel to level up. And by leveling up as a person, it gained this confidence in me that I can get any dream woman that I want. Not in a cocky or arrogant way, but it's like the biggest decision we have to make in our life is the mother to our children. So it's reminded me that there's amazing girls out there and I can get what I want. And having that high standard is what she instilled in me. Horrible to go through. So amazing now looking back on it. So yeah, I relate to whoever said that as well, for sure.
Is there a story you haven't told when you were living in that apartment with Sam that sort of just highlights? I think I remember you crying in talking in another conversation, saying we were just so fucked.
Yeah, well, we would go buy a bottle of whiskey and we would drink it on the rocks just because that was cool, in business, you do that and stuff. And so we'd get there'd be nights where we would drink a 6-pack of beers and a bottle of whiskey and go down to the bottle shop to buy more because we drank it all. And then would wake up and just be blackout. And there was one time where it was quite severe. I think we had a fight or an argument after it. And woke up in the morning and there was just shit all over the walls and blood on the walls, because glasses had broken and someone had rolled in it or whatever it is. Just we're like, what's going on, right? But I just think it's just when you look at those times and we were freshly 18 and we were just like, we had no one. We were in lockdown. You couldn't meet any people. We didn't know anyone. We were just trying to get by, making money. Like we were just like, I don't know, nothing better to do. And yeah, like it's not something I've ever shared, but also I just don't think it's not in common. Like I think it's a pretty normal thing for people to go through. Look, some of it was extreme, but honestly, it's just part of it. And the crazy part to look at that is it wasn't that long ago, really. It was 2020. So, 4.5 years ago now. So, like, but yeah, that was one of those things that was just a bit weird, and we would do it all the time.
What happened when you woke up after that?
Oh, just like, we'd probably have like an hour of space and I'd go for a walk down to the beach. And I remember like I walked down to the beach, come back, and I think like Sam had cleaned it up or whatever. And just little things. I've not thought really back to that moment like at all, but it's just one of those things where it's just like a little hurdle just to like get over. But when you get into like business together, and like the reason the connection's so strong is because there's so many lows and so many highs, and the polarity between the two in any relationship. If you've experienced extreme lows and extreme highs, you've experienced the most amount of different experiences with each other. And I think it forces this bond closer. And we just experienced so many lows together. Like if we fast forward a little bit to when the first business like failed, the first tech company we had, and we had to like walk into these investors and tell them that we lost all their money. And we're in this boardroom and we're 18 years old. And before we go into the boardroom, we're sitting in the car in my old Subaru, just like, you know, when you get the anxiety in your throat where like you can barely even like swallow and like it feels like everything's clogging up. We're both 18 here, like lost $80,000 of these guys' money. And like, we're like, this is like, we're just looking at each other, just like no words, just like, fuck, this is hectic. And like, so you experience that at 18. Most people never even experience something like that to that severity of hard decision to do and hard experience in their whole life, let alone like having to do it at 18. And so when you experience lows like that, then when you get a high or a little win, like it's the most euphoric feeling ever. And so I think Sam and I have just experienced so many different experiences, which makes the bond so close.
I remember you saying you want to pay the people back.
Yeah, good research. Yeah, for sure. Definitely. I want to pay them back because they took a punt. They didn't buy into how much money they were going to make. They didn't buy into the idea even. They bought into us. You know, I mean, that's a massive lesson for people is like have conviction in yourself and where you're heading and confidence. And if you are a likable person that people love and you've got a cool idea, like there's money everywhere waiting for you. And so like there's people that want to put money into people. So be that guy. And so, but yeah, they invested in us. And so at some point for sure, when the time's right, just give them a big old envelope and say thank you. And in the scheme of things, it's not a lot of money. These guys are worth lots of money, but it's just the principle of it, which is cool.
On that confidence piece, and I feel like I know the answer to this question, but are you surprised with where your life is at the moment?
No, I'm not surprised. I'm not, I couldn't have picked it. That's for sure. But then when you look back, you go, of course it is. Of course. You, like this, like people don't really see all of those times. You know, they look at me now and I seem to share some, just every now and then, some sort of wisdom can leave my mouth and people seem to resonate with it. And somehow I've amassed this little audience online and, you know, people seem to stop me on the street here and there and you know, say I've saved their life and some crazy things like that. And it's a cool thing to experience. But at the core of me, I'm still the same guy. And so, you know, time back before we pressed record talking about pedestaling things, I think stripping myself back and going, yes, I am in a unique position. what I've achieved is hard to obtain, which makes me seem to have more value in some people's eyes. But I'm the same person. I was the same drive. You know, the drive towards a specific thing has changed. You know, the things that I want in my life, the things that matter in my life, they've changed. But ultimately, I'm still the same person deep down. And, you know, if you speak to my dad or someone, like, they would say that too. And yeah, I think I'm not surprised, but where I am specifically isn't something that was like a absurd confidence when I thought I was going to be CEO, businessman, multi-millionaire guy. I think just the definition of success has changed and I've just altered to strive towards something different. But fundamentally, I'm still the same person.
What is something you wish people ask you more of? And you spoke about, I've referenced the fact I asked if you were surprised. What is something you wish people ask you more of to actually get to that point?
What do you mean?
So I spoke yesterday about the Lonely chapter, and you said, oh, well, it's something that we've sort of touched on before. Is there a question or something that you went through, or a topic or something that you went through throughout that period that you wish someone has asked you before, but you haven't actually spoken about it?
Yeah, I mean, for me, honestly, a big thing about it is actually just the willingness to try. I honestly do think it's not as complicated as we think. I think things like the Lonely chapter, they're so relatable because it's actually a cost of doing business. That's just it. As we said at the very start, the more you start doing things for you, the more unique you're going to become, the less connection you're going to have, ultimately resulting in a level of loneliness. So you go through this chapter of loneliness, the Lonely chapter. And so, like, when we understand that that's just part of it, it's a cost. It's going, okay, that thing has a price tag on it, and the price tag is a chapter of solitude and lack of connection. Are you willing to pay for that price tag in order to get the thing? And so when we understand that and we just strip it right back to first principles like that, we go, okay, yeah, I want that thing. I'm going to just go through that. So then when we get in this Lonely chapter, we're not surprised. We're like, yeah, I signed up for this thing. And so there's a level of peace in that because you've removed the expectation of just having sunny days. And so the lonely thing is a very real thing. But I've just more and more as I'm getting on my journey, I'm starting to realize that, like, it's actually not the thing that it's something that people feel, but it's not the thing that that move the needle. The message that I'm really trying to set into people is to truly just give things a crack. Like, what do you have to lose? There's not much you have to, in fact, there's nothing you have to lose that is greater than not trying. Because not trying is like the ultimate failure. Like, living life just on someone else's terms seems so unfulfilling and draining. It's just one of those things where I just go, I can't even take you fucking seriously. Like, you're not even living a life for you. Like, you've been put on this earth and basically you're a puppet for someone else. You're just like doing things to please other people before pleasing yourself, when really no one else matters in your life until you're sorted. Like, I truly believe that. Like, you need to be feeling good for you and good about you. And you know what's going to happen when you're in that state? You're going to light up. What happens when you light up and have all this excitement? All these people are going to be drawn to you. Like, the butterflies come to you. You're not chasing them. And what I think is the emphasis on a message I'm trying to push, and I know this is not exactly the question you asked, but I felt like answering it this way, is just like, you are going to die one day, and I just really want people to start doing things for them. Like, even when I do little things in my life that are not for me, I go, what the fuck am I doing? Why am I doing that? And yeah. And so I think I want to emphasize trying and just failing, because the more you fail, the easier the failures become, and then the bigger risks you're willing to take. You're not afraid of losing things because you've like, and I've spoken about this heaps too, but like, not afraid of spending money because I've had negative in my bank account many times. I've missed my rent payment and had no money to buy food plenty of times. Do you think if I go down to $100, I'm going to be stressed and anxious? Yeah, a little bit. But I've been in worse. At least I could buy a burrito. Like, the more you try, the more you fail. The more you fail, the easier the failures become. And when more failures become easier when you can fail easier, you can kind of expedite your process to where you want to go to because you're willing to take more risks and take those steps. So that's probably a message I'm pretty passionate about.
It's crazy what happens in your life when you go all in. Life's been so crazy recently in the best way possible. It's starting to feel like the universe has decided to give me a little lick of the ice cream.
Yeah, I've had no licks of the ice cream for so long. And like the amount of times I thought I was going to break through and then nothing breaks through, I just go, mate. And this is why when I talk about Sam and I just being in the room together or being on a park bench together and just sitting there and going, fuck, I'm just trying to have a crack, hey. Like that line is literally what we say. It's like a line, just trying to have a crack. It's going like, I truly feel like I deserve a little lick of this ice cream and I'm not getting a piece of it. Like I just need this little lick because I know when I get a lick, I'm going to love the flavor of it so much and it's going to give me this drive to go after the whole ice cream. But the universe is not even giving me a lick. And when I'm writing that is like things are starting to fall into line here. I've had so much shit. I was questioning whether I was ever going to get a lick, but I still kept going. I kept showing up. I kept failing, but then putting on this front that everything was so amazing just so I could trick myself into that I was doing something that was winning when it really wasn't. And then that post is referring to, I'm feeling like I've just had a little lick and I really like this taste. So I'm going to keep going now. I want that whole ice cream, maybe 2 or 3.
What does it mean to you to swap your good for great?
Well, ultimately, that is just a matter of like, do you want to stand out or do you want to hide in the crowd? Good may as well be shit. Because everyone thinks of this lens of, okay, I'm above average. Like I'm at least I'm doing it at a good standard. Like, I don't want a good job. Like I don't want someone to say, a good job, man. You did a good job. I want them to be like, mate, that was exceptional. And if you look at trying to stand out from the crowd and if you're trying to achieve any level of significance in your life, you need to stand out. And so just not settling for good. When you can settle for great and above, you can start like all of a sudden your competition is so much smaller. Like I'll give you a great example. Like if you're comparing yourself to everyone else that's doing good, you're basically comparing yourself to everyone because like 99.9% of people. But as soon as you put in that extra little like 10% that sticks you up into this great category, the pool of people is so much smaller. So you've got way less more people to compete against. And ultimately most people are attracted to great, not good. So if you're doing 90% of the work and getting a good output, you're basically wasting your time because everyone's skipping past you anyway. You may as well not even be doing the thing. Because if people are only looking at people that are in the great category, you may as well give it that extra 10% on top of the 90% you're already doing so you can actually be seen in the first place.
I think you referenced that with your reels that you were doing. Like it's so easy to pull a clip together from a podcast, but you spend so long actually nailing it. So it stands out amongst the crowd. Would that be a good analogy for what you're saying?
Yeah, that's probably one of the things that separates good from great. Like I went on a podcast a few months ago now and the guy posted it all and he sent me all the clips that were getting posted and they were all done on Opus Clip, an AI editing software. And there is no AI software. Trust me, I've looked. I've tried them all. There is no AI software that makes great clips. I don't care if there's softwares that tell you they've got all these views or whatnot. There's no AI software that makes great clips. He sent me all of these AI clips. You upload the whole thing into this thing and it pulls out like 20 clips from the episode in minutes. And he sends me all these clips and I'm like, okay, well, all of them are shit. They're all shit clips. And then he posts the clips, these shit clips, and then he hand writes, not AI, ChatGPT. He hand writes these massive captions under the clips explaining his thoughts on the clip. But then the clips get like 100 views. And I go to him and go, hey, mate, like, are you getting ChatGPT to write those captions or are you writing them yourself? He's like, no, I'm writing them myself. They're pretty good, hey. And I was like, mate, they're amazing. Like the captions are so good. My only problem is, what is the point of writing the caption if the video's shit? No one's going to see it. And it's going, okay, you can put in the extra work and spend 14 hours a day doing something, but other things you're doing actually moving the needle, which is going to separate you from good to great. Because if they're just pointless things that aren't the priority, but you're tricking your mind into you're doing all the work because you're spending a long time doing it, then there's no point doing those things. And so I would be analyzing all the things that are actually going to move the needle, and I would hone in on great for those things and not settle for anything less. For me, that was the clips. Like, go all in.
You said your goal was to create a clip. Have that feeling with a clip for every single one that you posted, though.
Yeah. Yeah. People have a podcast and they create 7 clips for the episode or 10 clips for the episode, and they have this one clip from the episode and they go, mate, this could be viral. This is so good. And they go, one of them. And the likelihood when you feel that way about a podcast clip, the likelihood of it going isn't guaranteed. You make all these clips all the time that you think are going to go viral and they flop. So if you've just call it, you've got a 5% chance that one you feel something is going to go viral, and you're only posting one of them a week, mate, like, how would you expect to blow up if you're only posting one great clip a week? Whereas if I go, okay, I want every single video that I'm posting 2 a day. I want 14 videos a week to be at that level. I've just 14x'd my chances of blowing up. And the great thing about the algorithm and blowing up is it compounds. So if I've got a 14x of something blowing up and I'm doing it at that level, it's more than 14x, because as soon as one blows up, the next week when I'm posting 14 videos that make me feel something, the algorithm knows and it's pushing it more than it was the week before. And so you're going kind of like if you're trying to just make one great clip and you're going to spend all this time on it, and then you spend all this time making a shitty caption, like it's a great caption, but no one's going to see it, so it may as well be shit. Like you may as well just write good clip in the caption because that's all the clip is. I just think focusing on the things that are actually going to move the needle are so important.
It moved the needle. You moved the needle, in 2023 in June when you started posting twice a day.
Yeah.
Can you take me back to that time? Were you just quote unquote giving it a crack, or was there actually any thought process about what you were posting?
No, I was just giving it a crack. Mentor said to me, post a video every single day. I said, scrap that, I'll post 2. And honestly, like, you look at the videos on June 1st, I actually started a day before, or like 2 days before, because he told me the challenge on like the 28th of May or whatever. I just got back from Thailand. And I was like, well, fuck, if I'm starting the challenge in June, taking it back to the principle of like, why wait till January 1st? I was like, well, let's just go now. My back's against the wall. I'm in debt. I got no job. I'm heartbroken. What do I have to lose? Why am I waiting till June 1st? So I started on May 28th or whatever it was. And you look at all the clips for the first week or so, and they were all just like business, networking, mindset clips. Like they were just like anything. And then because I was going through the breakup is when I started sharing quotes and relationship stuff, and one relationship video went well. Okay, so I'm throwing a bunch of shit at the wall to see what sticks. One stuck, let's hone in on that.
June 8th.
Yeah. Well, June 8th would have been the video where I said, it's time to let go, dude, or something like this. Yeah, I think it was like, that was the first one that went well on TikTok. And then I think the quotes came close after that. I mean, I don't know the exact dates. You would know more than me. But yeah, I think like the 13th of June or whatever was when I started the quotes, or the 10th or whatever it was. And then, yeah, by the end of June, the whole thing just blew up. So, yeah, I would say I moved the needle in that month for sure.
I asked you before if there was a quote that stood out, and you said no, there wasn't. I don't go back to it much. Do you remember the first one you did?
Someone else read it to me on a podcast, but I don't remember. Do you want to read it out?
Never let the past get in the way of your future.
Past can't be changed, and the future doesn't deserve the punishment. Is that what it was, or
That
is it
was-
literally?
Well, I transcribed it as never let the past get in the way of your future. So maybe I didn't listen to the whole thing.
Yeah, well, maybe that was all I said, but I think that the extension of that quote is your past can't be changed and the future doesn't deserve the punishment. You are letting your past dictate your future, but you can't control your past. So you're removing the power out of your own hands and into something else. And that's a pretty dangerous spot to be in. As I said before the show, it's like pedestaling things is doing the same thing. When you are focusing on things that you can't control, you are guaranteed to be down and disappointed. Because if you're focusing on it, yet you can't control it, you can't change it. So if you keep focusing on it, it can't get any better. It can't get any better. Yeah. Here's the thing, I guarantee you it can't get any better. You can't change it, and no one can. It's happened. So stop focusing on the things that you can't control, because the more you do that, it's destroying the future because you're hanging on to it. And I was heartbroken, and I'm going, never let the past get in the way of the future. Okay, yeah, I'm heartbroken. I thought she was the one, it was my dream girl. Like, everything about her was amazing. I can't think of a bad thing. She's great. I love her. Okay, but I only want to be with her if she wants to be with me, because what I want her to be is be happy. And if she's going to be more happy without me, then I don't want to be with her. Okay. Well, why dread over that? That's actually a positive. I'm making her more happy by me not being with her. Okay. What about for me? Okay, I really wanted her to be with me. But at the end of the day, I'm still going to strive and achieve all the things I ever wanted in my life. I was driven before I met her. I'm still driven now. So I'm going to achieve everything I wanted. And I can't lie, I wanted her to experience and live that with me. But only if she wanted to be with me. Okay, so the breakup, think about it. She's more happy now that she's not with me. I mean, at least she thought so at the time, potentially. She's more happy now that she's not with me. And I've just realized that I'm still the same person, except I've got more experience now and I've sharpened the sword, and I'm still going to achieve everything I ever wanted in my life, which is going to be in the future. Great. Easier said than done. I understand that. But the only answer is to keep going. I'm focusing on the things that I can control. And so that's what that quote ultimately means, is just, stop focusing on the things that are in the past, because you can't change them.
Your views on happiness, I find very interesting. I think you said happiness is not the absence of all your problems, it's the ability to deal with the problems.
Yeah. I would say happiness is an unrealistic expectation. You can't have happy without sad. So I think if we always want to be happy, or we truly love the feeling of happiness, it's a great feeling. But I think a better game is to start enjoying the sad, because there's going to be a happy on the other side. removing the expectation of happiness ultimately makes you be happy more. So I think happiness is just a weird term, and it's a combination of a lot of different things that we can't have all at once. So yeah, I think coming to terms with the sad results in more happiness. And again, without sad, you can't have happy. Without happy, you can't have sad.
What were you like at your saddest?
The saddest is when I'm trying so hard and no one's supporting me, but it's still not working. And you're just waiting for something to work. And the thing is what makes it more sad is when you keep digging a hole deeper and it still doesn't work. I think that comes with confidence where you go, oh yeah, it's going to work. So then you're willing to take more risk, but then it doesn't work and you've put yourself in a deeper rut and deeper hole, both financially, relationships, whatever it might be. And when you're at that low, it can just get hard to figure out what the next step is. A lot of people are in that state where you can't really see what the next step is. And so you've kind of got to like walk blindly and hope that it works. And that's hard. And, you know, there's videos in a vault that I've not opened since I filmed them. I talk about this every now and then. There's videos in a vault of me literally sitting in my car, just going like this. I'm like showing, like, I'm like, yeah, I've got $15,000 in debt. Rent was due 2 days ago. I just launched a product and 0 people bought it. I, you know, feel like an imposter. I've got all of this followers. I promote this amazing life. I'm shredded. I'm in good shape. People admire to be me. But then I think in my head, like, you can't walk a day in my shoes. I've like got anxiety in my stomach and in my chest and in my throat because I feel like I'm one thing, but then I'm viewed as another thing. And then I get thousands of messages every week of praise and how much I've helped people and how amazing it is. But then for me, I go, I have no fucking idea what I'm doing. And like when you tie all of those feelings on with like an extreme financial stress and no support, that's where you go like, it's tough. And look, I say no support, but my dad came to the rescue so many times. And my dad's not loaded with money, but he just made it work. I was just stuck. And I was like, yeah, shit's like really bad. And like for people that have gone to their dad to ask for money, like they would know it's a very hard thing to do. Like the pride in you feel like a loser. Like you feel so bad having to ask for them for money. But I would always go at the very last minute, last resort. I'd like squeezed, like trying to get money from someone else, but they've said no, or I've tried to like pre-sale something to sell something, or I've tried, you know, selling some item of that I have that I don't use. I've tried all of these things and it's still not worked, or I haven't had enough money, or maybe I collected a little bit of money and I had like a subscription, massive subscription I didn't know I had come out, and I was like, fuck, I actually don't have enough. So then I've had to ask dad for money, but then I go, okay, if I only need $200, but I don't know if I'm going to run out. I don't want to ask him at least for another couple of weeks. So like maybe I should ask him for $800 so that I can like this is all going on in the mind, and then you like ask him and he says yes most of the time, and like it's quite a tough thing to go through as a man, to be on this path that's you should have it all figured out, but then you still got to go and try and ask him for money that he doesn't have to keep a roof over your head. It's tough. And yeah, those are some of the challenges for sure.
Did you ever lose faith in yourself?
No. It was just a matter of like, when is the break going to happen? I'm fucking over it. I'm over like having nothing. I'm just sick of being broke. I'm sick of trying and just failing time and time again. And I never lost faith. I have slowly started to expand the time horizons. I was 17, thought I was going to be a multimillionaire at like 19. Mm-hmm. It's like quickly realizing that, hey, that's probably not realistic. And so removing expectation has been a thing I've done for sure. But I've never lost faith.
I remember you talking about your old man. No, sorry, not the old man. When you were struggling in Sydney, and you put that post up on Facebook about washing cars.
Yeah, that was early days.
Yeah, and you were I thought of that story when you spoke about asking money from your old man, and then it's similar, asking money from the government. You'd rather just do it yourself.
Yeah, I also couldn't get the government because I didn't have a fair reason to move out of home. I would have taken every penny I could have got from the government and still worked. I just would have made the most of it. But I couldn't. And so that concept was more of a virality play of shit-talking people getting money from the government and saying that I was young, hustling, working for it instead to gain some respect and trust online to then get cars cleaned. It was marketing play and it worked. But yeah, that was the last thing I wanted to do, clean cars. And then when it blew up and I was doing 8 a day, it was like full on, man. Like, I don't really get my hands dirty. I'm not a tradie. Like, I don't do any of that. And yeah, that led into the business and all the rest of it. So I'm grateful for everything. You know, one of my favorite quotes is Steve Jobs. He says, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. And in the moment you go, this is pretty ridiculous. But then when you look back, you go, okay, of course it makes so much sense that I put that bucket and vacuum in the back of my car, never knowing when I was going to need it when I drove down to Sydney. And then all of a sudden I started cleaning cars, and then that tech company started where we were creating a mobile app for car cleaners, and then it failed and we got the investors on board and lost all their money. And like, you can look back and know exactly how it all happened. And I'm grateful for every part of it. In the moment, it might not have made sense.
Do you talk to your old man about that time?
Probably don't reflect on that as much. There's still so much happening. Life's moving so quick. Like, things are just booming, you know? And I'm grateful for it, but there's always so much to update on. And we reflect here and there. But I don't think I'm at a level yet where I am there to reflect with Dad, and like, I still do it, but like, truly when it's going to feel special is when we go somewhere amazing and just have quality time with us two, and it's going to be cool. It's been really cool to see Mum and Dad buy into the mission and support me wherever they can. It's been great.
Do you remember the letter you wrote him?
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool. I mean, like hectic. And that was only late last year, which is just wild, about a year ago. And I wrote Mum one, I wrote my brother one, and that was it. I only wrote them. I just felt called to write to those people. I didn't spend enough time with my brother. You know, my mum and my dad were so supportive, and I just felt really called to write them letters. But yeah, I was in a pretty low state when writing those, when they were reading those. It was tough.
I remember you saying you were bawling for 20 minutes after you.
I couldn't stop crying. Yeah. And I think I hadn't cried really at all. And so I think it was just a combination of so much, just like I would be going through some shit and I couldn't even cry. I was just numb. I would just lie in bed or sit in my car and I'd have a croaky voice, but like I was just numb. Couldn't cry. Like, some little tears would come out of my eyes when I was alone, and you know, I'd be sitting on the beach and just alone and just like not knowing anything, like not knowing how I was going to get out. And like there'd be these times, but I'd never like properly cry. There was no moments where I was crying. It was like little tears or little things. But then when they read those things and I got them all to read it at once and I saw them all cry and then I like didn't cry and then mum and dad were talking and mum and dad are separate, but they were talking in the kitchen and I walk up to them and like just look at them and the next minute I'm like bawling my eyes out. Just like I just started bawling my eyes out and I just hug mum or I think I hug dad and I was just like, I'm fucking trying. I was just like, I just remember just like hugging them and I'm like, I'm trying so hard. And they're like, yeah, I know. And they were there supporting me. But I was just like, I don't know what else I can do. I am giving it everything I got. And they can see that. Like, I couldn't speak to them. I didn't speak to them much. I was working so hard, like trying so much stuff and nothing would work. Nothing would work. And having no support at all, like just feeling alone. And like you just question like what you're actually doing. And no one supported. Like my siblings don't support. Like my brother and sister do, but like two older sisters, they're not very supportive. And like, when are you going to get a real job sort of thing? And like, so it was just like this buildup of like little things that have just been bottled up and all of these low times where I haven't cried, but I've just gone like, fuck, keep moving forward, Chris, keep moving forward. And like, I've not actually dealt with any of the emotions. And then all these people in my family start reading these cards that I spent hours writing and they like start crying. I was just like, fuck, I'm crying. And I remember I sat out on the balcony and I just couldn't stop crying. I would try and stop crying and I could not stop crying. It just kept going. It was like rushing down my face. There's a video. I'm not sure if you probably wouldn't have seen it. There was a video. Actually, you definitely probably wouldn't have seen it because it was just a random time in December last year. But on that day, I made a video about that moment. I was walking like that night. It was like a week before because we had our Christmas early. And I remember I was walking down the hill of my mum's house and I made this video speaking to the camera, walking down the hill. I forgot I actually have not watched it back. But I was talking about something to do with that experience. And yeah, it's just crazy to it's crazy to experience it. I think the start of the video was it was like, let it out, man, or something. That's what I was saying. It's like, you've been hanging on to this shit for way too long, sort of stuff. And yeah, crazy times, dude. Crazy to look back on.
You talked about the videos in the vault.
Yeah.
Do you reckon they'll ever come out?
Yeah, oh, for sure. They'll come out. They'll make an appearance. They'll make a celebrity appearance. They'll look at me in those times. I'm not quite there yet. I'm sure a whole lot further than I was, and I'm definitely not in those lows. I'm in quite a good position at the moment, which I'm blessed to be in. But I think there's a certain time that I want to look back to those, and I'm not too ready yet. So I think it's just, yeah, the time will come though.
Have you ever had anyone transcribe or read the letter you wrote to your dad out to you?
The one that I read out on that podcast?
Yeah.
No one's read it out, no. Feel free.
You may as well.
Let's go.
Merry early Christmas, Dad. This letter is really important for me. I feel you deserve to hear my appreciation. As I reflect on the last year, I get goosebumps thinking about how challenging it has been for me. By far the most challenging year of my life. The amount of stress I've onboarded isn't something for the weak-hearted. This year has taught me many lessons. To keep going, make sure my why is strong. I've learned the importance of loving myself, loving people around me, and more importantly, being critical of those who I let hang around me. Going through a breakup taught me that love is real. It also made me look within and grow into a person that I am beyond proud of. That relationship was probably the most challenging part of the year for me. Dad, you've loaned me $11,000 this year. You've been the reason that I've been able to stay on this path without being distracted by a job. You had no clarity as to what I was but you trust me. You backed me, you supported me through thick and thin, and I can't thank you enough. Nothing can repay you enough for that. Thank you for everything you have been through this year. Thank you for everything you have done for me this year. I feel so lonely sometimes on this path, and you were always there when I called. And as I sit here writing this card, I have $30,000 in debt and no money to my name, but I have this fire in me that things are about to dramatically change in my life. I look forward to reaping the rewards of all the extreme hardship I've been through over the years. You'll be the first person I share those rewards with. I love you, Dad. Chris.
And we fucking made it out the other side, baby. And I think that's a lesson. That was 11 months ago. 11 months ago. You make all of these 5-year plans, 10-year plans, 15-year plans. That was fucked. Like, as we just explained, I cried for like 20 minutes. And it wasn't a cry of joy, that's for sure. I was fucked. I didn't buy anyone presents because I couldn't afford them. I wrote them those cards. That's it. It's not that I didn't want to buy them presents. I couldn't afford them. And like I'm not here to boast about where I am now, but let me tell you, it's a whole lot further than that. And all it started was, all it came down to was I just kept going. Like, I didn't know when I was going to make it out the other side, and I didn't know what that looked like. But what I did know is, like, if I don't quit and I'm doing it at the standard of the highest standard, and I'm confident in myself, and I keep going and I keep learning, something's going to happen. Like, something's got to tick. Something's got to work. And I'm in that moment where, you know, at the end there, I was like, I got this fire in me that something's going to change. And it did. And, you know, it comes down to that confidence. And I had confidence in that moment. I was just fucking tired of it not working. I was not stopping anytime soon. Like, you know, the loaning the money from Dad's interesting because, you know, it says 30 grand there because the rest is constitutional debt with like banks. And loaning the money is interesting because it gives you this bit of a responsibility to pay him back 100-fold. Like, it gives you a responsibility to give him everything that he wants in his life. Like, every single thing, any fantasy that he has, any complaint that he ever has in his life, it needs to be eliminated. Like, I owe it to him by doing that. And, you know, he still asks me to this day if I'm all good. And he gives, and he reminds me this, he's like, oh, I've just sold something. I've got money I can get if you need it. I got it straight away. And like, I don't need it now, which is great. And it's just so cool that he just has this confidence in me, that he believes in me. And like, you know, that, like, that's all that really matters. I think it's forced this bond closer, and it's a comparison point that we can compare to now with all the other experiences we have in our life. And I'm grateful for that. And yeah, just kept going. That's all. You can question what you're doing. We all do. You can think that something's not going to work. You can trick yourself into thinking that moving on and hanging up the boots and stopping to do the thing that you're doing is the right decision. You can trick yourself. Your mind's pretty creative. It can come up with all these ways as to why you shouldn't be doing the thing that you're doing. But if the thing that you're doing is with the soul-led version of you, it's doing things that you truly want to do. If you have a goal and it's aligned with where you want to go, where you truly want to go, you're going to have hurdles. It's just a matter of if you jump over them or you turn around. And I think that's just a testament for that. Like, I didn't know what the fuck I was going to do. I didn't know. I'd used all my resources. I had tried everything I thought I could do with my online social media presence, and I didn't know what to do. I actually had no idea. So it was starting from square one, just with a couple of numbers on my socials. And here we are. Thank you for reading that. It was cool.
For anyone going through hard times right now, I'm so happy for you. Good on you. It honestly makes me smile because I know that you're paying the price to turn your good moments into great moments. When you're so deep in the weeds, it can be hard to onboard this mindset. I know, but just zoom out a little bit. Take a breath. Keep pushing forward.
They're special. The lows are special. Let me ask you this. Like, when you look back at your life and you're reflecting on times in your life, are most of those times low moments or high moments?
Right, for sure.
Yeah. Like, you look at the low times and reminisce and reflect. Don't get me wrong. You don't want to go back there. But if you ended up back there, you'd probably have a little bit of confidence that you'll make it out the other side because you've done it before. Like, the obstacle is the way. The only way forward is through. Like, you need to go through the shit. Again, it's the price tag. I get excited. Someone goes through a breakup, I go, fuck yes. And the only reason I say fuck yes when someone's going through a breakup is because I look at how much my life changed when my girlfriend broke up with me. Whole life changed. Like, my girlfriend broke up with me in May last year. And I had a negative bank account in May last year. She didn't know that. But I had a negative bank account in May last year. And I had nothing. I just quit my job. I was trying to start this software company that wasn't working, and I was putting all my money into that I didn't have. I went to Thailand on credit card. I had nothing. She was the catalyst. That breakup was the catalyst for change. So every single low that you're going through, you can choose to look at it as a horrible thing and this all happened to me and I'm a victim. Or you can look at it and just zoom out, step away from this black wall that you're looking at and go, this happened for me. Everything is perfect, divine, and right on time. There's a lesson in this thing. Let's use that to slingshot us forward as opposed to dwell in it. Like, I get so excited about you going through a low. Like, fucking good. Means it's going to be a lot harder for you to be phased in your life. You're going to be a lot more stoic. That's quite an attractive trait. Calm in the chaos. Quite a fluff little term too. It's pretty powerful though. And the only way to do that is to go through more shit. So the more shit you go through, the better of a person you're going to become. Seems like a win, doesn't it?
When you're running on Santa Monica Beach after having gone through all of that stuff.
I'm fucking proud, man. Because I made it out of a dark place. And I kept going when everyone thought that I wasn't going to make it. And that video is a very, very special one for me. Very special.
What's that?
Like, the feeling I had in that moment, like, was exceptionally euphoric. And in that video, I said, there's one thing I want to thank the most. I want to thank the hard times. I want to thank all the shit that I've been through, because those very moments are the things that make me feel so good right now. If I'm running on Santa Monica Beach, and let me wind back like 10 minutes from that moment of running on Santa Monica Beach. If you've been to Santa Monica before, the beach is down there and there's a massive big like kind of cliff and the pathway and all the trees, and Santa Monica is like above. The beach is like really low. I was running above and I'm looking down at the beach and I go, holy shit. Like, that's Santa Monica Beach. I'm running through all these palms. And then I'm like, how do I get down there? I'm thinking in my head, like, how do I get down there? And so I'm troubleshooting how to get down to Santa Monica Beach when 6 months ago, I couldn't even pay for my groceries. And I was like, this whole thing's going on. And I've got one of my best friends that I've hired full time, and I'm taking him around America with me. And he's at the cafe editing my vlog that comes out tomorrow. And then I'm running down and I turn left on the street in hopes that it was going to get me down to the beach. And when I turn left, it's like one of the most affluent streets in Santa Monica. It's this loopy street with all these mansions by the beach. Didn't mean to turn down there. It just happened. Divine timing. It's one of those green light moments. Mm-hmm. And I get down through the street looking at all of these amazing houses, and then I pop out the other side and I'm at the beach. And I'm like, holy fuck, what is life? And I was having this insane euphoric feeling of pride. I'm like, fuck, this is what I was waiting for. Like all of these lows, like this, the price tag I paid for this feeling, I'm going to make the most of it. And I remember I was holding the camera because I was vlogging at the time. I hold the camera and I just speak. And it just comes out the way it did in that video. And it just so happened to be, I must have been on in that point. It was very raw. It was real. And it's just a reminder. It's like this passion of going, if you watch that video, you can feel the passion in my voice. Like I meant every word that left that. And it's just this emphasis on going like, you're experiencing someone that is in an extreme high right now. I'm not telling you how it is when I'm on a low. I'm showing you how it is on the other side. And you can feel this exact feeling that I'm feeling if you keep going. The people I'm talking to right now are the people that are in the shit. Good on you for being in the shit because it means that you tried. But even more of a good on you for not quitting. Do not quit. And that was the feeling that I had running on Santa Monica Beach. I'm like, I didn't quit. And I'm nowhere near where I want to be yet, but I'm a whole lot further than I ever thought I could be. And for that, I'm extremely proud. And that's one of the all-time favorite videos I've ever made.
With all that in mind, what's one thing you wish more people did?
Just tried. I love that. You know, I don't normally post. I've never posted a video answering a question before. But I was just driving and I was speaking about that. Like I just saw that. I get a lot of questions when I do a question box, hundreds. And so I don't answer them all. But sometimes they could be great questions. But if I'm not feeling like answering that specific question, I just pick the ones that I feel called to answer. And that one I just was like, as soon as I read it, I was like, just try. And then I thought, oh, this will be good. I filmed it and I thought that was actually quite powerful. Let's post it. And I posted it as well. And, you know, sometimes the less the thought that goes into something and the more real, and instead of thinking I'm feeling in those moments, the less I think and the more I feel, the better the content can come. And people seem to love that message, man. And I spent 58 seconds prepping that video. I just pressed record and off we went.
Do you still doubt anything you do though?
Sorry?
Do you still doubt anything you do or things you do?
Yeah, of course.
Do you remember Chris? He said the problem with the world is the intelligent people are full of doubts and the stupid ones are full of confidence.
Yeah. I think doubts just mean that you care. Like, you've got to care about things, you know? And I think like the more you progress in any field, I think the less delusion you have and the more real you become. Like when I look at my journey, like the delusion is what's got me where I am today. Like you've got to be pretty fucked up in the head to have 300 followers on a podcast page and you put it in your bio and change your bio to podcaster and tag it. I hadn't even released a single episode. Like it didn't know it had 50 followers. It didn't even have 300 followers. My More Chris Griffin page had 300 followers in June last year. But like, you've got to be pretty delusional to go, I'm a podcaster and I'm going to promote to all my audience that I'm a podcaster, but I haven't released episode 1 yet. That's a level of delusion. Did I have doubt? Sure, but the confidence there was way more higher than the doubt. And in fact, like, I thought I was going to get better results than I did. And the podcast has blown up. And so confidence, sure. That comes from stacking all of those little wins, though, to give me that confidence. All of the stuff beforehand has led me to make that decision in a confident way. But doubts, for sure.
The undeniable proofs.
Yeah. But
where do you want to be?
Where do I want to be? I don't want to be anywhere. I just want to be here. Like, ultimately, the more I succeed in whatever field, the more I'm just chasing presence. Because I just think the more you advance in a field, the more pressure you can put on yourself, especially if you're in the limelight, constantly be on, thinking about what you just did, thinking about where you're about to go, thinking about all the things that you want to achieve. But the only thing that really matters is right here and right now. And it's just a constant battle of reminding myself of that. I think chasing a bit more presence is the thing that I want to be. Because you can have all the money in the world. That's great. I'm certainly going to have lots of it on that path as we speak. But it's not the thing that actually matters. It's a vehicle. It's a tool that unlocks the life that you truly want to live. If I can be fit, be proud of how I look and feel, and so have health as an emphasis, have quality connection, both romantic and platonic, tight friend group, loving partner, beautiful family, and I have something to strive towards, that's all I really need. All the flashy stuff's a bonus, which I'll have. There's no doubt about it. But if I lost them, if I lose the Rolls Royce that I will have at some point, it's not going to be as bad as losing a loved one or losing your health or not being, or like imagine going to a thing that you really want to go to. You've always wanted to do it, but then you can't even be present in that moment. Doesn't matter if you drove there in a Rolls Royce. You can't even switch off. Presence is a really powerful thing and an extremely valuable thing that I think I want to strive to have more of in my life.
Where do you not want to be?
Where I was yesterday. I don't want to be in a place that I was yesterday, because if in the same place that I was yesterday, then I'm one day older but not one step closer to the life that I truly want to live. The reason I don't say massive things when you ask me that question is because some of the things that people might answer in that way are not even concepts in my mind. Like not achieving the life that I want to live is not even a concept. It's just a matter of when. Like it's going to happen. It's not a matter of, I have certainty it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. And all of the things that I don't want, I have a pretty good ability to fuck them off now. If I don't want something in my life, get it out of there. There's only so many things I can have. There's only so many experiences, people, places, abilities that I can have. If I don't want to have anything, I kind of cull it, and I cull it quite quick.
Where are you now?
I think I truly believe in divine timing. I truly believe that everything is meant to be. And I think where I am now is a place where I'm feeling a level of progress in my life. And I'm also feeling a level of challenge, which is great. I don't want to be complacent. So I like to be in this state of pushing the boundaries, but not too much to the point where I'm extremely stressed and in that state because I've been there so much, and I'm not craving that at all in the slightest. Like, to achieve some level of financial success to the point where I can actually breathe is something that I love feeling. I'm not trying to dive deep into that hectic, like, back against the wall state right now. I quite enjoy, being at the spot that I'm in right now. And it's not to say that I'm being more lazy or less productive. I think it's just defining what you think productive is. And I don't think productive always has to be on all the time, because I think switching off is extremely productive. So it's just finding this balance of what my priorities are. Like, if someone asked me, like, do you want to hang out? And I've got an empty calendar. Just because it's empty with no appointments, it does not mean I have time for you.
Did you hear Alex Hormozy, how someone just rocked up and asked him for an interview? And he looked in his diary and he goes, he rocked up to a real estate appointment, and this guy just walks up and says, do you want to do a podcast? Just out of the blue. And he goes, no, I've got a really busy calendar. And then he looks at his calendar, but he has nothing on.
Yeah, he was like, no, I don't want to do a podcast. And he's like, come on, man, it will only take this long. And he's like, mate, see this? I want it to stay that way. Great. Yeah. You have to have a level of security in yourself to be able to do that. The level of confidence that needs to be earned within yourself to be able to do that. But, like, I think that's great. Like, earn your ability to have my time. And, like, the thing that's got me to where I am today is to be selfish of the things that I'm doing. And it doesn't always mean that I'm being selfish. Part of that might be a selfless task. But it doesn't mean that it always has to be what you want. It's actually ultimately just doing things that I truly want to do. And yeah, it's hard to do at times, but I do think it's something that I'm certainly striving towards. Just doing things that I want to do, and not like being a bit more harsh on things that I want to do and what I don't want to do, and saying no more.
Seth Godin said, in your career, even more than a brand, being safe is risky. The path time to lifetime job security is to be remarkable. If you're remarkable, it's likely that some people won't like you. That's part of the definition of remarkable. Nobody gets unanimous praise ever. The best the timid can hope for is to be unnoticed. Criticism comes to those who stand out.
Mm. You're going to get judged. Of course you are. You're doing something that's pretty fucking weird. Like, you've got like a level of extreme delusion to think that what you are going to do is possible. The likelihood is it's not. And it's proven that time and time again. But if the criticism is a price to achieving that life, and you truly want that life, then the criticism is not going to hold you back. So it's a cost of doing business.
On the topic of wasting time, brother, it's been an amazing chat. What, an hour and 40 we're in?
It's great.
It's been an amazing chat. And yeah, I really appreciate what you're doing and where you're on the path that you're on. And I'm honestly, privileged that you've spoken with me today. Yeah,
I appreciate you having me on. And, it's interesting, like, I don't think you asked me this on the phone last night, but sometimes I go on a podcast and people go like, why did you choose to come on the show? And the thought that goes into my mind is like, it's most definitely not so I can get noticed sort of thing. Like, it's not that.
Do that yourself.
Like, I think there's going to be a time where doing something like this will make no sense. And I'm not there yet. I'm not famous. I'm not like at a state that's hard to reach. And if I'm sitting at home and I can do something like this now, I may as well. Because when there's a time when I'm the biggest in the world I can't just go on podcasts like this. And so I may as well make the most of it now. And so that's why it's kind of like, no, I don't go on everyone's podcast. I get reached out every single day with people wanting me to go on their show. I don't even see all the messages of people that want to invite me on their show. But every now and then when the time lines up and it makes sense and we can eat a cool steak, it's yummy, like why not? And so I appreciate you, and I just want to commend you as well. You're doing a great job, dude, and your ability to interview is awesome. So I think you can go places if you don't stop, and I don't think you will. So good on you.
One last quote to end it. What I realized in that moment is the price tag to feeling this euphoric feeling that I wish everyone could experience, even just once in their life, is all of the hard times that I've been through. All of the shit and all the dark tunnels I've walked in that had no clear light at the end of them.
It's been the emphasis on this chat.
For sure.
I think it's an emphasis on a lot of my message. And they're all just comparison points. Like, you need them. They're good. Like, I think the most profound thing, and after that run, I called Sam. And I just wanted to call him. And this is the same thing where I said, if you were dying, would you tell him? It's Sam. Like, if anyone is interested, the episode with Sam, the new one, comes out tomorrow when we're recording this. So it'll be out ages ago from, I don't know when this comes out. But it's truly a special bond. And I remember when I called him afterwards, I just said, dude, the most powerful frame that I have at the moment is that I can reverse a bad time and make it seem like, tell myself that it's a good thing. If you can truly believe that the hard time you are going through is good, you're not scared of going into hard times. And like, if you've listened to this long and you're still listening to, you're not sick of my voice yet somehow, and you're listening to this conversation still, you would know that throughout this, I've been talking about how powerful the lows are. They are the thing that matters. Like, they're your comparison points. When you can remind yourself that going through a low time is an amazing thing, you're willing to go through the low times. And the great part about being willing to be in a low spot is that, like, you're going to take more risks. You're going to win in the long run more than someone else. Like, even if you think about Andrew Tate, he's like, yeah, the best memories were in prison. You got to be a bit of a sicko to think your best memories are in prison. He's developed a love for the low times because he's been through so many. You can be so much more happy in your life, and you can be so much more successful because you're willing to take more risks if you're willing to go through low times. I could lose everything tomorrow and there'd actually be a level of relief. And that's a pretty fucked up frame. I don't want to lose everything. But I know if I do, I'll be all good. I've been in worse spots before. If I've been in negative, zero's not too bad.
Do it all again.
That's it.
You're a good man, brother. Really appreciate you.
Appreciate you, man.
Fuck, that was good. Fuck, that was
Happy?
good. Yeah,
That was good.
That was awesome.
Prime example. Like, I'm struggling to be motivated to go to the gym. I might go...
I may as well just fucking keep. Yeah.
I might be struggling, like prime example, I might be struggling to go to the gym. So if I ask this question, I go, okay, I'm struggling to go to the gym. Then I look at it and go, who do I want to be? I want to be someone that's fit, jacked. When someone slaps me up or gives me a hug, they can feel my muscles and they compliment me on how strong I feel. I want to be that. Where do I not want to be? I don't want to be overweight. I don't want someone to have the ability to grab fat on me, a love handle or something. That would be fucked. Where am I now? I'm in a state where I'm not being consistent with my training because I'm not very motivated to go to the gym. Okay, so we found where we want to be, where we don't want to be, and where we are now. What are all the things that are getting me closer to that person that can have love handles that gets held on to when they give me a hug. Okay, well, I'm not being consistent. So if I don't be consistent, my diet's lacking. I let one thing slide, so then all the rest of the things slide. Okay, I'm probably going to get closer to there. Let's eliminate all of these things. What are all the things I'm doing well? Okay, when I go to the gym, at least I have a program, and the program's goal is to get me lean and jacked. Okay, well, that's a good thing. Let's keep doing that. All right, I am doing all of these other things that are allowing me to get to the gym easier. I might not be motivated, but at least I'm putting my shoes at the front door. Okay, let's keep doing that. And if we can understand where we are, be running away from where we don't want to be and striving towards where we want to be, and we eliminate all the things that are getting us down there and increase the amount of things that are getting us to where we want to be, all of a sudden it becomes so much easier because everything that you're doing in your life or not doing in your life, there's a reason as to why you're doing it. And so you break it down in the health area of your life, the business and career area, which I label as time, because all business and career is doing is freeing up time. I mean, obviously it's giving you something to strive towards and progress and whatnot, but ultimately we make money to free up time. And then you look at it in the relationship side of your area. If you do health, time, and relationships, and you do who, what, and what, who do I want to be, who do I not want to be, and who am I now, in all of those areas, you just do an assessment of your whole life as it is today. And then you just eliminate all the things that are getting you further away and increase the amount of things getting you to the way. Easier said than done, but it's a framework that is so powerful. It's up to you on whether you execute on it, but at least you know what to do and what not to do.
Would you say that elimination of people in your life that didn't need to be there was one of them?
Yeah. Well, that's just a given. You're the sum of the people you hang around. And that's the most overused thing ever. But I would argue that it's not overused because it's such a powerful message. People aren't willing to let people go. Yeah. And you kind of have to. And that could be friends. It could be family. It's an energy thing. If someone's not serving you, then get them out. And it's harder to do than say. We know this. But that's like lots of things in life. I would ask myself what the price of inaction is. Like, what's the cost of not doing that thing? So
that's a Chris Williamson.
It is.
He said that.
Yep.
What's the regret you can't live without?
Yeah, what's the cost of inaction is what he talks about as well. I think it's really good.
You know what? I actually transcribed that whole thing when I was there. Like, I was just typing the whole time.
What do you mean?
Like, when I saw him?
Yeah.
Like, I was like typing notes the whole time.
On the iPad?
No, on my phone.
Yeah, right.
I was like, fuck. Every single line was like so good. I'm like, I'm going to start writing this. Anxiety cost. Remember him talking about anxiety cost? What else have you got? Steps of overcoming social anxiety. Best questions to ask yourself. Note of things to remember when you're feeling down. You know, men at all levels suffer. If you allow yourself to be inflated by the opinions of others when you're on the way up, everyone tears you down. When you're on the way up, everyone roots for you because you remind them of their dreams. Yeah, correct.
And when you're at the top, they tear you down because you remind them that they didn't fucking try. Emphasis of the podcast.
The only thing that's doing the thing is doing the thing.
Yeah, look, to be honest, with the Chris Griffin show, I went in Brisbane and I didn't like how it's a hard one because he was talking so much about the really viral things that he's spoken about, and everyone that has been there has already heard about all the things that aren't doing the thing. They've already heard about the lonely chapter and all of that. And I know it's harder to execute than just say, but if he walked out, like I lost interest at some of the points. I love Chris and I love his stuff, but because I've consumed so much of it, it can be hard.
Yeah, for sure.
If he walked out, let me ask you this. If he walked out and the first thing he said on show, he was like, hey guys, so good to be in Australia. Now, look, I know most of you in the room, I'd probably say 99.8% of the people in the room, you have heard about some of the really viral things that I've spoken about, which is probably why you're sitting in this room. I'm so grateful for those concepts, the lonely chapter, the list of all the things that aren't doing the thing. I'm so grateful for all of those. What I'm going to do today, since you already know all of that stuff, I really want you guys to get some actionable things off the back of this. I'm going to do my best. Here's my promise to you. I'm going to do my best to only share things you probably have never heard before today. I'm going to share things that I think about all the time, but I've never shared. I would be locked in the whole show. Harder to execute than do, because when you're in the space, and I'm in it too, so I know when you learn something new or you have a new ideology, you get so excited to share it. And if it's a good one, it probably goes viral. But I always think like sharing things that people haven't heard is pretty valuable.
For sure. I hope that's what we got out of today. I know you've spoken a lot about what we have spoken about, but we went pretty deep today.
We did.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, man.
Round 2.